On this episode, we delve into the world of tech with recent graduate from the University of YouTube, or YouTube U for short. His name is Brad, and he's a dedicated learner, and his hobbies revolve around acquiring knowledge for fun. Despite initially pursuing engineering at UT, he decided to shift gears and attend YouTube U, teach himself to become a developer, and use this expertise to become a YouTube content creator and learning stuff all along the way. Despite his busy schedule, Brad manages to prioritize self-care, and he strives to be a good husband and dad. We also talk about the endless possibilities of mayhem at a virtual reality Christmas party. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am late. Ooh, it's Karen from HR. Ooh, this doesn't look good. Let's jump in. Everybody, welcome to a Moderately Good podcast. I'm excited for my guest tonight, so we're going to go ahead and get this regular stuff out of the way. Joe Andrade Media, he's my camera guy. Not here tonight, but that's okay. Joe sets all this stuff up for me, takes all my cool pictures, so make sure you check him out on Instagram. My guy Jason at Wish Pocket, he's my audio guy, so the reason we sound so good or I can record and mess stuff up all the time and Jason can fix it is because he's so good. So, and you can find him, like I said, on Instagram at Wish Pocket. My guy Jaron, he's at No Names Originals. I have his artwork up in the garage now, and that's No Names Originals on Instagram. Support local North Carolina artists. And then last but not least, my guy Mo, he has the Go Bubble app, and if you use a promo code Go Moderately, you get a discount. I just like still saying that I don't know what it is because I don't. Oh, and if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe because it's like really a cool thing to do, right? Cool thing to do, Brad?
Absolutely.
Subscribing is so cool. It helps us out so much. Or if you're like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, just hit the like follow button. That's also really cool, right?
Super cool.
Super
Do it.
cool.
Do it.
Do it. So everybody, say hi to my fairly, I would say, what would you call us? Like good acquaintances.
Good acquaintances. Yeah.
My friend, Brad. How's it going, Brad?
Good, man. How are you?
You know, I'm still doing this, so I guess it's going all right.
I made it here.
Yeah,
I'm doing all right.
But we've been planning this for like a hot minute. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'd kind of shout and like, you know, and life happens and stuff. But I'm always like, I don't know if this is good or bad. But I never stop bothering people that I really want to come on. I'll give them a little bit of space and time, but then I'll come back and go like, hey, so you want to come on or not? Like,
yeah, I was like super glad that you hit me back up. Like the holidays were in between there and like shit got crazy. And
there's just a lot of stuff going on. And like, I also realized that there's just so many things to pull our attention away from everything that like, you know, we have those, like, we kind of, like, we've talked about this before we started, like, we have all this technology, like, let's use it, connect, like, let's connect with it, you know what I mean? And so it's cool to send, like, my favorite thing to do right now is do, like, the voice memos on, like, Apple phone, like, you know, like,
yes.
I can record a voice memo and send it to you, because, like, I'm talking to you, but it's like walkie-talkies, like delayed walkie-talkies.
Do you know that the Apple Watch has a walkie-talkie feature?
Oh, no way.
I use it all the time. Yeah, it's so good.
Hey.
Like, it's always 10-4, Roger, over and out.
All right. So, Brad, give shout outs, social media, all your stuff. Because we were talking before, maybe the starter, maybe on the podcast, while we've been recording the podcast, that like you're over 1,000 followers now on YouTube. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get monetized. I put out videos about web development and learning things about web development.
Anyway, so shout out your socials and all that good stuff.
Yeah, youtube.com/Brad Garapi is my YouTube channel. That's where I put out my tutorials. And then my website is bradgarapi.com. You can see everything I'm doing there. I'm writing blog posts, I'm tweeting, I'm linking all that kind of stuff. So if you ever need any kind of website developed or anything like that, anything tech related, just hit me up. I can handle that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And like I would assume that like you're the kind of guy like if there's something don't know, you have a good reference of friends that you reach out to and go like, hey, can you help me with this? Like using your resources, right?
Yeah, either learn it myself or I know somebody who can do it.
Yeah, well, there's YouTube University.
YouTube U.
Yeah, YouTube U. I was gonna make sure to say just YouTube U. Like
that's actually a great idea.
But, okay, don't steal that at anybody. Like, by the time I'm all right, I'll have it out before this comes out for sure. Like, I didn't bet that. Matt, you Matt. Matt was like, he goes, Matt suggested, like, he recommended, like, you and a couple other guys. Like, I said, fuck you, Matt, but, like, what I really mean is, like, thank you. He's my number one, like, fan. Like, he listens to all the podcasts. Yeah. Like, I really appreciate it. Anyways, so he's recommending people. And so, like, he recommended his friend Kyle. And then, like, Kyle said, like, he had a great time and all that stuff that happened, whatever. And Matt was kind of like, well, I didn't have that experience. I was like, bro, you were, like, number 3.
Yeah, he was early.
I mean, cut me some slack.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
And to be honest, I know we tried to connect on this and then dropped over the holidays. I'm a little grateful for that because I watched quality improve. I watched things get better. Did
you watch that the very first one?
I watched The Guys was the earliest that I watched.
Okay, well, go watch
the first one.
The very first one.
Yeah.
Like it should just be called like Two Guys in a Garage.
Yeah. It always starts off that way though. Like so you find your rhythm.
That's what's so amazing is like every YouTube channel like that I've kind of went and looked at. A lot of times, if you scroll back far enough, you see the beginning.
Oh yeah.
You see where it started, and that's really cool because once I saw the beginning. It's Bourbon Junkies. Like, so I was Joe that comes in for the podcast. I was talking about like what he follows and he was like talking about Bourbon Junkies. I was like, hey, scroll back to their very first video. So like their very first video, it's like the garage door's up, right? Like just a table and there's just like whiskey sitting on it. And then by the time you get to their like latest episode, they have a whole backdrop and there's like whiskeys all over the place and they're behind a bar.
Real microphones and lighting and production.
Thing, right?
Yeah.
But like, I guess, the hardest thing is to start, right? Like, but let me ask you this. Really quickly, talk about your podcast experience from just doing something, not necessarily the podcast part of it, but just like we talked about earlier, how difficult it is just to keep going.
Yeah. And I can talk about this from two aspects. Yeah, not only the podcast side, but the YouTube side.
Okay, go.
So before I ever did the podcast thing, I decided I was going to make some YouTube videos. And like, that was hard. The first time I ever did a live stream was hard. Because
in what way?
I was doing live coding. So I was writing code and encountering issues and problems and having to like be cool on camera.
Were you answering questions as well?
No, I was just trying to build my own stuff.
Yeah.
But like my setup was nothing. I barely had a microphone, I was probably running it off of my like Apple headphone microphone. And that's what you start at because you don't really need anything else to get started. You have what you need. And you just have to put that first foot down.
Right.
And then I got the mic and the mic arm and the lights and stuff. And I got more comfortable on camera and dealing with when I hit issues or couldn't figure things out, or you just pivot the show a little bit, like engage chat some more.
Right.
And like, or be like, okay, well, we're going to put this aside. Like, what do we want to do now? And it becomes more interactive instead of people just staring at you. But it really like taught me how to interview well, to be honest.
Sure.
Like to have a bunch of people looking at you or feel like you're on the spot.
Well, holy shit. You're interacting with more people than you can like really interact.
Sure.
Like if you went somewhere in public, you wouldn't even interact with that many people.
Right.
Right. Because like there would be people across the room you'd never talk to. But in a chat room, you're interacting with all those people. And so like you're learning how to communicate kind of on the fly.
On the fly. Yeah.
Anyways. Okay. So what was your second? You said you had 2, right?
Then the podcast situation, that was just about like gaining rapport with the co-host before getting the show up off the ground. We pre-recorded probably 5 episodes just to see if it would work. Because you can't say like, we're going to record it and put it out because you might not know. You might not like how they do their thing, or you just might not like their opinions or whatever it is about them, because you have to jive if you're doing a co-hosted show.
See, I've never really done a co-hosted show.
Right.
So like, I have no idea.
Right.
But I can see that, right? Like you have to see if it kind of works. Like, I also feel like that, like, for lack of a better word, like when you're co-hosting with something, you got to know your role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the one guy has like kind of the bigger personality, you have to let him be the bigger personality.
Because that's what's going to sell the show. Like,
well, if you shut that down, it's not going to be authentic, right? It's not going to be, you're not going to have an authentic interaction. So like, you know, again, like when we're talking about like people like making mistakes or whatever, when someone's like authentically they're loud and they're authentically loud, we're like, be loud.
right.
But when it feels not authentic for whatever reason, we're like, shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, so like you had to like fill out your co-host and get that started, right?
Yep.
And so then how many episodes did y'all do?
We did, I think like 40.
Okay.
We did it for about a year, then decided to go on a break over the holidays and never came back.
So, okay, whose idea was the break? I feel like it's the episode of Friends.
It was
We were on a break.
it was like kind of mutual. You could tell we were running out of steam. You know, you could feel that. It was like, okay, well, let's just, instead of banging our heads against the wall or, you know, working overtime to try to figure this out, let's just cut it. We'll put some ideas in there over the break and we'll come back and we'll start fresh with hopefully a new list of ideas type thing.
So retrospectively, do you know that you like should have just like powered through that moment?
I was willing to.
But I mean, now there's two of y'all. Like, so like you have to depend on your co-host and
Yeah.
like not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, everybody has to be on the same page to
Yeah.
do stuff like that. Right. So yeah.
I think there should have been more research done on my end up front. I think it could have, had I picked a different co-host, let's say, it could have went the distance because now I'm guest co-hosting on another podcast with a great friend of mine who I know from, you know, web development online and stuff. And it's going great. You know, there's like no signs of slowing down.
Did you watch the first season of American Idol?
Kelly Clarkson won that one, right?
Yeah, don't worry about that. But don't
No,
worry about that. So,
no,
but you know, like Ryan Seacrest,
yeah.
right? And there was a co-host, right? There
Was Simon on there yet? Was that
yeah,
show?
Simon was on that first
Okay.
season, I think. But you know, Ryan Seacrest had a co-host, right? So you didn't even know that,
No.
yeah. So do you know what that guy? You obviously don't know what that guy's name is,
No.
right? Neither does anybody else.
Yeah.
You know why? Because like they didn't like that didn't vibe. Like Ryan, they kicked that dude off. I think after the first season, and Ryan Seacrest like took over.
Yeah.
Because the energy just wasn't there, and just sometimes that I mean, it's not bad. It just means like two people ain't vibing. Like no big deal.
And like TV people know that, or the audience knows that. They can sense it immediately. I like this guy, or I don't like this guy, or this guy's taking over too much, or this guy's being too passive. And the whole audience can sense it. And you just got to like figure out what that sweet spot is. And I think maybe at the end of the day, it is just letting the people be themselves on camera. And that should shine through.
And I would think like you also have to handle that other person being themselves, right? So like we'll just say for shits and giggles, the guys you're co-hosting with, not the dude that you did, but just this imaginary dude. Whatever, like whoever that guy is just not some dude you want to hang out with. But he's being his 100% self.
Right.
Then you have to put all your shit aside and go, okay, like, well, what am I going to do for the best of do I really want to do this for the best of the show?
Right.
Do I want to even be part of this? Like, you have all these kind of questions you have to ask, and that's not a good start.
Yeah.
I'll say, right?
Yeah, I think you got to know your co-host first and foremost. And then it just makes it easy. Everything else after that will make it easy.
Joe, I wanted you to kind of co-host, but you know, I want come back home. Come back home, Joe.
Is he just a behind the camera guy? He's not a in front of the camera guy.
Well, sometimes Joe will like I'll be like, hey, you want to be on mic? He's like, yeah, I'm cool. Like I mean, a lot of times when our friends like come in or whatever, he'll come in and be on mic. But then on other times where like maybe he doesn't know the guest or something, I'll be like, hey, you want to be on mic? He's like, no. And then at the beginning of the podcast, I'll just say things like, yeah, Joe's here, but he doesn't want to be on mic or whatever. Love you, Joe.
It's always funny when you get somebody like shouting from behind the camera or whatnot, you know, piping in their 2 cents.
Well, I think that it's a dynamic. It's a dynamic that I like.
Yeah.
So like as the easiest example for me is like Howard Stern's show, all the characters that he calls out to when he's on the show, or Joe Rogan's show, Jamie, I guess is whatever his guy is.
Sure.
He's off camera. He's like, yeah, Joe, you know, whatever, and putting stuff up for him. Like it puts depth to the show. That's what I like about it.
Yeah. I guess I don't really know those podcasts. I view it as like the Roots on Jimmy Fallon, you know?
Yes.
You know, and like there they add their little color to it all.
Yeah. I mean, it balances what's going on.
Yeah.
I personally like I love doing like one-on-ones, but I personally think I don't want to say 3 is enough, But if you got like 4 people in here, it's too much. But 3 is a pretty good number. I like working with 3.
It's like those. You ever been on like a Zoom happy hour? My company does these Zoom happy hours sometimes, and there's like 20 people in an online meeting, and you're expected to like conversate. And it's like only one person can be talking at a time. It's impossible, you know? It's kind of like that if you get too many people in a podcast, like only one person can be talking at a time. I don't know. I will say, I think VR and stuff is pretty useless. But for these kinds of like work remote get-togethers, it's pretty good. Because the best thing that it has is like kind of like that spatial sound where when you're close to somebody, you can hear them. So like you can be in an auditorium listening to one person speak or having kind of side conversations like that.
Well, I just got this like what what if like they did like somebody's like Christmas party virtually? You know how shit-faced people get at Christmas parties, and then people just like drunk like on VR, and you're and, like you just see like a avatar in the corner just like passed out. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, Tim's out, man. Like, how are we gonna get back to his room?
Oh man, yeah. We did some of those big like parties and stuff on VR, and it went like, you know, you just can't. It's toned down. You know, at the end of the day, it's toned down, but it's certainly better than a Zoom meeting. You know, I just think that ability to only have one person talk at a time is just not going to work.
Okay, so like you're a self-proclaimed nerdy guy.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the thing you're most excited about in tech that's coming out? Like what's something that I should be excited about that's going to happen that I don't know it's going to happen yet?
Nothing user facing.
Meaning what?
Meaning like there's not going to be some big shift in how you use the internet or a computer.
But for you as a developer, there's going to be this
a
big
lot
shift.
of stuff happening behind the scenes that's making
give me an
my
example.
life easier.
Give me like applications and stuff.
New tools and frameworks coming out to like make things better. But I mean, okay, here's my hot take on all this stuff. You're asking about like what's new and upcoming and hot. Things like blockchain, crypto, and Web3 come to mind, but that's all going to fizzle out. I don't think it's going to be a thing.
Okay, I'll bite. How do you feel about crypto?
I think it's totally worthless.
Why?
I think it's, well, one, it's literally worthless.
Sure.
And two,
besides the fact it's literally worthless, why else?
Crypto is just a scheme to make money on blockchain.
Technology.
Yes. Now, blockchain has some actual application behind it, but I don't think it's really going to come to fruition. Blockchain just says, you know, when you like.
Okay, let me ask you really quick. So blockchain is used for like to make like these like basically baseball cards online and images and pictures, and you're locking. Right?
That's one application of blockchain, right? Yeah.
What is the application that would, like you were saying, like it's not going to become? What's the application that it would need to be used for to make it something?
Yeah.
In your opinion?
Yeah. So I can see blockchain being used for things like official documents, like leases and loans on vehicles or houses, or titles and registrations to vehicles, or government
stuff that
documents.
Needs to be really locked down.
But also not have a central place where everything is stored. Like imagine if the database of social security numbers got hacked, and now somebody has your name and social security number because they hacked the government. The thing about the blockchain is it's encrypted and the source is actually distributed. So there's not like one person that can get attacked and everything gets leaked. You have to have this trust in many different blocks on the blockchain that make this more secure. And so what this essentially means is that maybe the government or banks or something like that can store official documents on this blockchain, and you have access to it digitally, which means all your cards, all this paperwork, that just goes away. You just have a phone. And that's what's pretty cool.
So why do you think it's not going to happen?
Because crypto and NFTs were the first thing that came out as an application on the blockchain. It ruined it financially and reputation wise. And not to mention security wise, how many like crypto ledgers have been hacked or whatever? A lot. And so at this point, like it's lost all credibility and all steam. So where any of the good applications could have emerged later, people aren't going to care. They're going to be like, oh yeah, that thing that lost me a bunch of money, I'm not going to invest in it. So any of these companies who are going to want to do it, they're just not going to get funded. That's one thing that I was going to say is the Web3 stuff. The second thing is the VR AR stuff. Expect a lot more of that.
That's cool.
I still don't see that it's all it's cracked up to be, but expect a lot more of it because Facebook, Meta, is betting the bank on it right now, which is crazy. They're like hemorrhaging money trying to build as much as they can for virtual reality to get that platform up and running essentially for the rest of the industry. So it's weird. They're like jumping all in.
Do you think the timing's wrong?
I think the timing is right. I do think the timing's right because like the pandemic was forced a lot of separation.
Do it, right?
Yeah. And Facebook wants to be the first in there to build all the foundational stuff so that then people are kind of jumping into their marketplace, their platform.
I guess I just wonder, does Facebook do all the digging for somebody else to show up at the end and just like get the jewel? You know what I mean? Do they hemorrhage themselves for somebody else to just step in and go like, boop?
Well, let's put it like this. Apple does a lot of digging for everybody who makes an app on their app store, but Apple takes 30%. 30%. Which is wild. People, run Apple over the coals for that all the time. There's this game Fortnite that got taken off the Apple store because they were just fed up paying Apple so much money because Apple was trying to like tell them, no, you can't come into our app store because you're trying to take payments outside of the way we do it where we can charge you 30%. So you're banned. So it's weird. They hold this monopoly over that.
Well, I mean,
and that's what you get for going in first and building all the foundations. You kind of set the rules.
Yeah, if it works out all right. If the timing is right. Like, I mean, it took Apple a hot minute to get this thing kind of rolling the way it is. You know what I mean? Like a lot of struggle like there in the beginning. So it's like they kind of had to wait for their time too.
Yeah. So this is weird because Facebook's going all in at this time on the VR stuff, and it stocks and everything say it's not working out right now because they're hemorrhaging cash and all. So we'll see.
What is that like? What is that like just to hemorrhage money because you want to do something? Could you imagine just hemorrhaging money because you like to, there's something you want to do and you have the means to do it?
It's weird. Like, like your web browser, like Google Chrome, there's a company building a new one of those and they don't have a sales model right now. It's this new browser called Arc, and you can like access the internet with it, but they have no way to make money. Google Chrome at least funnels you back through Google, which they earn money through searches. But this company's just like, oh, we're gonna build it. We think the time's right, and we'll figure the rest out later. And it all comes down to like startups and startup capital and the way all that world works. And like being a developer, I interview for jobs that are like early stage startups and stuff. And it's like so much risk. It's wild. Because they'll literally be like, we just got Series C funding. It's like $5 million. We can run for another 2 years and that's it. Unless we make more money or raise more money or something.
Do you think on some level, I don't want to say like buying time, but you're waiting for your time. You're waiting for your time, right?
It's what it is. Oh, so
like, cause like if it's not working in the beginning, it's working probably because it's the wrong time. So you're waiting to see if this actually works, right?
As a startup, you essentially have like two choices. Take all that funding you have and burn it into the ground, trying to build the best thing ever. And then it never gets picked up and everybody just leaves after that because that's it. Or you kind of like, well, I guess there's three outcomes.
Hope you get bought out.
You leave, you run out of one runway and that's it. Two is you get bought out. You build a decent competitor to something and some other company who wants it snaps you up to compete with so-and-so or whatever. And the third option is like, no, we're going to stand on our own. We're going to, accept all the funding that people will give us, make our own pricing model, and then become self-sustainable after that. And that's like the purest point of view. Like, I want to build this for the sake of building it because I love it, because this is a dream I have and a company I want to run, which those are more rare, Well, only some of them make it to there.
I think very similar to our conversation about like the podcast is like, I mean, you have to just grind it.
Yeah.
Like if you want to build, like, I think about all the time of like how some people become like kind of insta famous, like just like overnight, like their TikTok kind of takes off. And so, or like their Instagram. And then you go, okay, so now what do you do at that point? Because like maybe you haven't built like any kind of base. And so like, how are you going to
sustain?
Well, and you don't even really know what you did maybe because you haven't been repeating something. You just, this is your first like one off. And there's something about like sustaining something for a long period of time and knowing what you built and being able to correct it. Like it's almost like driving a giant ass boat and you have to make the turns like way ahead of time and go real slow through them. And you get to kind of do that as you get that process out. If you have an overnight success, it's like you have to make you have to figure it out really quick.
Yeah. Or fizzle out just as fast.
Or fizzle out just as fast, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you think we'll come to like, I mean, I'm sure this is a yes question, but like maybe you have any kind of perspective. Like, you know how they do like the Tupac hologram?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like how close are we to like doing a VR meeting where like we're all holograms like walking around in a place?
Yeah. In full VR, that already exists.
For real?
Yeah. Facebook Meta has a thing for this.
But like those are avatars, right?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about like I am like what I am like when Princess Leia, when R2 is projecting Princess Leia and like it is her, like I am in my clothes. Are we close to that kind of thing?
So that's called AR. That's augmented reality.
Oh, yes.
That's taking the real world and putting something fake in it.
Yes.
Right? We've got a lot of applications that do that. So like on your phone, you can download this app from Adobe that if you're looking at it could put a Leia right there. So you have to be looking at it through the lens of the phone.
Like Pokemon
right?
Go?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck's Pokemon Go?
Apple is rumored to come out, or Google kind of had a product like this where like there are glasses. But it's only one person seeing that. They haven't figured out the networking piece where like both of us are
seeing the same thing. You seen Free Guy?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God.
Like, Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good, but the concept of the show is exactly that. Yeah. But Ryan Reynolds is cool.
He is cool. Like
if I was going to be, like, I want to be Ryan Reynolds is cool.
Like it takes a lot of personality to do those Mint Mobile commercials. He's like, I'm just going to get up here and kind of make fun of myself.
But the funny part about it is like he's anything but funny, but it's funny, right? You know what I mean? Like he's just, it's kind of like we don't have any money. And then you just like, you're like, man, he's so cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Like there's Tom Cruise cool, but I don't really think Tom Cruise is like that cool because I think he tries too hard.
Did you think Tom Cruise was cool at any point?
I always thought he tried too hard.
I know we have a different age, like first Top Gun, any reference first Top Gun? No,
I do, but I
Did you watch it?
Think it was a little too macho, you know?
Okay, so you've seen the original Top Gun.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And like you liked it?
Yeah, for sure. Great movie.
And Tom Cruise is cool in it?
He's cool as a character, but he's not like idol. I want to be that guy, you know?
Okay, so tell me if this is the difference. I think, excuse me, Tom Cruise is really cool at playing a cool guy on a movie.
In a big.
But in real life, he seems kind of like a tool bag.
Well, maybe because
Ryan Reynolds seems cool in the movies, and like I want to go to his house and hang out with him. Like he seems cool.
Ryan Reynolds, Matthew McConaughey, they're on that level, you know, where like you do just want to hang out with them.
So I brought a friend on my podcast, and like he openly was like, "I hate Matthew McConaughey."
Really?
Yes. Is there somebody that you just like cannot stand?
Jim Carrey in any of his funny roles. Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
Like Jim Carrey has essentially two different careers. He's got his more serious roles where you can think about.
He became enlightened. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you've got his funny roles. And I can't stand him in any of the funny roles. I don't like his physical comedy.
Like the over the top.
Yeah. Now, I'm not like a movie snob by any means. I like my dumb, funny movies, but his comedy just rubs me the wrong way.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't, let's see. I don't like Kevin Hart really in stand-up. Like Kevin Hart's movies are fine with me because I think he's a pretty good actor, but his stand-up I don't find very humorous, which is probably a lot of people. But I'm also like, I'm a big like thought provoke. I mean, everybody likes Chappelle, right? Like everybody likes Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, but he makes a point with what he says too, and that's the beauty of it all.
Well,
he's given a monologue that makes you laugh along the way.
Well, that's George Carlin, right? That's like really,
Sure.
really great comedians understand that perspective. And I think I don't know. I just like Kevin Hart's just loud as a stand-up, and it's not my thing.
Yeah, I think comedians who do too much body movement.
Dane Cook.
Oh, they're too loud. I'm just like,
but look, Dane Cook captured a generation of males. Like he had them like this.
Really did.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And they love Dane Cook. And
that was my generation.
That was your generation,
I feel like, but that wasn't me. I want to hear somebody make a point while being funny.
I could talk about comedians forever, but I'll end it with this. Being a good comedian isn't necessarily about. It is about your jokes, but it's more about the delivery, the way you deliver, your timing, the way you hit your punches.
Yeah.
Like, because anybody with the right, I don't want to say anybody with the right, it's kind of like art. Anybody or instrument, anybody with a little bit of training could do stand-up. The hard part is standing up in front of people, delivering your jokes, being confident about it, all the other stuff that you need, right? Same with performing a musical instrument or even doing art. And so, you really have to you have to nail your character.
Yeah.
If you nail Chris Rock nails his character. And at some level, Kevin Hart nails his character, but I don't like his character.
Yeah, but the other thing is that like Daniel Tosh would do it like live and in his TV show where he'd be doing those live bits with like a guest that would come on.
Right.
And he's forced to be Daniel Tosh, be that character kind of in the moment.
But whenever he would do those viral things and he'd bring those people on and talk to him, he was asking just very simple questions. There was nothing complicated what he's asking. It's just those people put themselves in such a predicament.
Yeah.
That, the very basic of question, and it's like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Like, it's not the, and like, it's just comedy just like flows out because the person is there to give it. You know what I mean? This probably won't go on the podcast, but on Instagram, I follow this guy called Uncle Sink.
No, I never heard of him.
I don't know where this guy's from. I think it's Australia. And he has a certain way. We'll look at it in a little bit. He has a certain way he drinks a beer. And that's all he does on his whole Instagram is drink a beer in this way, in this particular way. He gets other people to do it. And he has like over like fucking like 25,000 followers and shit. Like, it's crazy just for drinking a beer. And I'm over here, I'm busting my ass on a podcast. And this guy's just drinking beer.
I'm like ecstatic that I crossed 1,000 followers on YouTube,
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to get monetized this year. That's my big goal.
I'm at 90.
90, yeah. Yeah, that grind to 1,000 took a long time, but I swear to God, I hit 1,000 and like YouTube was like, oh, okay, you're legit. And like,
well, because there's metrics for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure it was like, I started getting automated emails about promotions. Like, about promotions I'm kind of interested in, but I'm also not sure if they're legit or not.
So let me ask you this. Like, I'm sure on some level you've been hit up about a lot of things along this path, right? Did you turn all that stuff down because you just kind of know, like, it's not the right time, it's not the right setup, it's not the right situation, like it could be a scam, minus the scam stuff, but just like, you felt like this is not my moment to monetize.
Yeah.
I need to build something more, right?
Yeah, I've gotten some offers for sponsored videos, and I'm like, I haven't even found like myself yet and the
Your
topics
voice
that I'm interested in teaching and things like that. I'm not gonna like randomly go like, here's an ad for some company on my channel, It's just not the time. But, I got bigger creator friends who are like, I'm making a living off this and I need help making demos. Who wants to help build demos for me? And I'm just going to keep pumping out some sponsored content because like, this is my paycheck now.
Right.
So it's weird. And I think too much sponsored stuff will cause you to lose faith and trust in the creator. And I definitely wouldn't suggest any of that stuff too early just because it takes away from the authenticity of it all.
Well, look, right now I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, do you understand how freeing that is?
Yeah.
Like the idea that I can do whatever, anything I want to do, any dumb idea I have, I can do it and don't have to worry about any consequence. Like, I'm going to enjoy every part of this. If this were ever to become anything, I'll enjoy that part then, but I'm going to enjoy this part now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, this is fun on some level. Like I never thought this grind, like, well, let me take that back. I mean, some days it's not fun to grind out something and want external praise or reinforcement that you're doing a good job. It's hard to like reinforce that for myself and go, you're doing a good job. You're doing something you love. Like stick with this because it's for you, not, you know, because like everybody likes to be liked and loved and praised and whatever. But it's weird when I have those moments, somebody random in my life will do something and encourage me to like do something else, like to keep going.
Yep.
Like, oh, that was great. And I'm like, oh, that's what I needed.
That's literally all it takes is like one word of validation that like what I'm doing is good or is worth it. Because it's like being a creator, it's like so easy to be like, I'm just not going to do this video or I'm not going to do this episode this week because I just don't feel like it.
Right.
And if you don't have 20,000 people yelling at you to put out a new episode, like it just doesn't. Well, it all hinges on your.
You have to
emotions.
generate that from inside you. Like, you know, there's nobody externally helping you in any against you or for you.
Yeah.
It's just you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, you know, this is not, this is so bad. I'm like, this isn't one of those days, but like, they're just because of my day, not the person that was coming on. There's days where I didn't want to record.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with the person. It's just like that. I was having a bad day or whatever, right?
I mean, you're in front of a camera, right? You got to put on a face. You got to be happy about it.
You got to some level be here.
Yeah.
Right. And be present. And so, you know, obviously because we know each other, this is not one of those cases. This is fun because we know each other. But like, you know, there's days where I just don't want to do this. And you have to kind of grind those days out because you're taking somebody's time.
Yeah. And
all those kinds of, like, there's all these other responsibilities you have as a human to that human that's coming to interact with you. Unless you don't like your partners you work with. Yeah. Like, don't show up. Go ahead.
But in the same vein, like, I always found that motivation comes when you're actually doing the work.
Yes.
Not when you're sitting around thinking about the work or learning about the work or planning the work. It hits when you're doing it, when you take that first step. So like you might be having a shitty day, but you said, okay, I'm going to commit to doing my episode. I'm going to commit to streaming or whatever. And you flip on the camera and you start talking and the next thing you know, like you're in it. And just from starting, that's where all your motivation comes back, you know?
I don't mean to like shift this, but like, let's talk a little bit about YouTube University.
Okay. I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about.
Well, but I think I'm making kind of a joke, but because I think I have people fill out a form and you said something like, you just love learning and everything is online in your fingertips to learn.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I call YouTube University, right? It's like anything you want to learn. There's already 15 dudes on. It can be the most obscure thing, and there's 15 guys on there that are telling you how to do said thing.
Yeah.
Right. What's the most interesting thing you learned off of like the internet,
dude? I learned web development off of the internet.
Your whole
free.
Like. So, with what you do now, did you like that's applied to what you do now, or is like what you do now something totally separate?
No. That what I do now, I learned from YouTube for free.
You graduated from YouTube University, basically.
I totally did.
That's awesome.
Like it's weird though. Like I had a degree from UT in electrical engineering, but that didn't mean I was a programmer. So you were already
smart.
I was smart, but like, and I knew how to learn, but I wasn't a programmer.
Right.
And I got a job doing some programming stuff, but I wanted to be a different kind of programmer. I wanted to build for the internet.
I don't want to say a good one, but you want to put
a relevant one.
You want to put effort and energy into what you want to do.
Because like I wanted to be able to make something and share it with you.
Right.
I couldn't do that at my old job. Like it was code that went into some microchip that was shipped off in a bunch of servers. Nobody gives a shit. But if I wanted you to care, or if I wanted to show my wife what I was doing, I had to become a web developer, build things for the internet. So I was like, well, you know, my company's not going to teach me how to do this. So I went to YouTube University, spent $0, graduated, and got a job at Adobe. Like, that's how wild it was.
So, okay. when you're trying to get this job at Adobe, what does your resume look like? Like, what did you like? Did you put YouTuber? I'm just kidding.
That was the hardest part. That was the hardest part because it's like, I know I have zero experience doing what I'm applying for.
Did you have a portfolio?
I had a big portfolio.
Yeah.
So I had my website, number one, and then a bunch of other side projects listed saying like, this is what I've built. Just look at it.
Really quickly, Brad, you did a lot of things for free.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To build your portfolio.
Oh, yeah.
But you need that as a sample of work to show to somebody to get work, correct?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is like you kind of got to work for free in the beginning, right?
100%.
You kind of, yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure.
And very much just like all this podcasting and YouTube stuff, you gotta.
I'm in the red.
You gotta have that grind, you know.
Well, so like like people like okay, so this is I don't get this question a lot, but people do ask. I go like, oh, so you like do a podcast? Like how much money you make? I'm like, oh no, I'm in the red. Like you don't understand. Like this is a negative flow for me.
Sure,
but it's like a hobby, like building model cars or collecting sneakers, which I do also as well, but like it's this is my hobby at this point, right? And again, like I get to enjoy it because I don't have to answer somebody. It gets to be my hobby, but at some point it might not be, and I might not be able to enjoy it in the same way.
Right.
I'll have to fight to keep that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've recently taken on some like side programming gigs for money, and it's kind of exciting. It's in the early stages where it's exciting. It's not tough because I'm kind of working for a friend and he just needs a hand and he's got some bucks to hand out. So, you know, I'm going to help him out. And I hope something like that never becomes a grind. And if it does, I'll turn down the offers, you know?
Yeah.
But I just like that I can do some stuff in my spare time that earns a little side money that feeds back into the things I'm trying to learn and trying to accomplish.
This is a really random question. Have you ever been an artist? Have you ever done any art?
No, but I was in band, so I did.
You're
instruments,
a
musician.
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
Because like when you were talking about like putting like you're working at this one place and you're all making these chips and nobody's going to see it and you want to put something out that your wife could see, blah blah.
Yeah.
I automatically thought like, okay, this is one of two ways. Either this is like super narcissistic,
sure,
right?
Yeah,
or he's an artist, like, and musician lines up with that, like you know what I mean, like putting something out from inside of you, right?
Yes. And there's something weird about programming that is creative and expressive.
Well, it's a new version of that. It's a new version of creative, right? Like it's, let me ask you this. Is a DJ a musician? Like, and I don't mean like a DJ that plays other people's songs. I mean, a DJ that mixes his own stuff on a computer. Is he a musician?
I will say he's not a musician, but he is an artist.
Right.
He doesn't play an instrument per se, so I don't think he's a musician, but I do think he's an artist. He composes music.
Right. But that didn't exist 15 years ago or whatever it is, right? And so the idea of being an artist changes. Like on some level, that for me, this is art, right? And on some level, I've been doing this shit since I was a fucking kid. I would steal my parents' camcorder, VHS, record video. Except back in the day when you didn't have any way to edit shit, like if you got something fucked up, you had to reverse the camera and then find where the cut was and then try to re-record. And if you did that enough times, it would just mess up the tape and it was just horrible.
Wait, so were you recording like skateboarding videos? Or I feel like all the kids my age are doing skate videos.
So like this is, I feel like I've told this on the podcast before. I've always had trouble with reading. I think that there's something wrong. It's hard for me to read. So like I take in books that are audio wise or whatever. Yeah. But also that affects my writing and stuff too, right?
Sure.
So anytime I'd have like a class project, instead of trying to like write a paper, I'd always try to like get my way out of it by making like some sort of video.
You're speaking to me.
Right. So then me and my friends, I would get somebody along with me. We'd make videos and then we'd actually do commercials inside the videos of whatever we're doing. And I could only wish that my mom still had these. I know she doesn't, but like, that's what we turn in as our project. And we usually make good grades just because the teacher's like, well, he went to all the trouble I had to wheel a TV in here. You know what I mean?
I was the same way. I was like, any way I can use technology to complete this assignment instead of pen and paper, sign me up.
So so for me, like, okay, all this stuff is kind of new. Figuring this out is kind of new, right? But I'm growing up at a different time. Like I'm growing up where we have camcorders, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But you're growing up kind of in the middle of this, like really booming. So, I mean, you had to be kind of like a kid in the candy store of like how much was kind of given to you to just put stuff out there, right? Almost kind of in a perfect age. Like you were just right at the right time for that particular boom.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely didn't start doing it until later in my professional career. But like, yeah, all this gear and stuff, I've definitely bought a lot of it myself.
What was your first job?
Dell. That's where I was writing that code.
I'm talking about like your very first job.
Very first job? Oh, mowing lawns out of my black Ford Ranger pickup truck.
Really?
Yeah.
How much you charging per lawn? What was your rate?
I think it was $10 or $15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did your parents have to like encourage it? Was that all you? Or were they like get your own money?
No, that was very much all me.
What was your first like job where you got hired somewhere else?
CVS.
Oh, fancy.
They built a new CVS and I got to like put all the shelves together and then stock them for the very first time. And then
so you
it was like
opened,
OG, yeah.
You opened
the
CVS.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
I opened the Old Navy.
Nice. Nice.
I opened a couple of Chili's.
Okay. Yeah. I've never done like food service.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that seems odd to me? Is that odd to you?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of people do food service.
No, I guess in a sense of like I feel like you have the type of personality for food service. So why did you never do it?
Oh, I don't know. Well, mostly because when I was at the age to do food service, I got a lifeguarding job at Hurricane Harbor.
Oh, of course you did.
So like, dude, that was so much fun.
Yeah, I bet
it was a good time. I like looked Mexican for a summer. I was so dark.
Yeah. Well, and you probably were you very health conscious, taking care of yourself like back then?
Okay, so they had just vats of suntan lotion. Talking about being health conscious, and it smelled like banana. I think it was banana boat, and like so everywhere where the lifeguards hung out, it just like reeked of this banana smell.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried to like keep that stuff on at all times, but like, was I like lifting and stuff?
Yeah. I was like, oh no,
like
so,
no.
Were you kind of thin? Were you thin?
I was thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like a runner type guy for a long time.
Like how was how were the chicks being a lifeguard?
I met a girlfriend there, so it worked out.
Well, I mean, a lifeguard's a pretty solid gig.
You just chill, like, but every now and then you'd have to jump in to the giant wave pool, like the big main wave pool. Jumping from that top level lifeguard chair into the pool was probably.
Are you afraid of heights?
A 15-foot drop. It was big. No, I wouldn't say I'm afraid of heights. But it was exhilarating. Like jumping off that was so cool. You felt like such a badass. You blow the whistle, you freaking jump off, swim to the middle.
It's like slow motion Baywatch.
Yeah, it was cool.
Hey everybody, you can find this and a lot of other cool swag on amgpstore.com.
Okay, your first was a boy or girl?
Girl.
Okay.
Second
how
boy.
How did that go? How'd you feel about that?
Good.
Did you want a boy?
If I had to pick, I would have put the boy first.
But I mean, I think that's a very common answer from a dad.
Yeah, exactly.
It almost would be weird if you're like, yeah, I want a girl. You're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Creepo.
Yeah, but I will say she's like, my God,
Is she like you or like
strong.
Gabby?
Both. She's the perfect middle. I don't know. Like both of the kids are the perfect middle.
What does she do that's like you?
She gets pissed pretty quick.
Really?
Yeah, I've gotten better at that, but she's.
What does she do that's like? What does she do that's like Gabby?
She can be sweet. Like she can. She knows.
Are you saying your wife can be sweet?
She knows how to like get in there. You know what I mean?
So
like she's sweet in the way she's
a sweet talker. Like she's a man. Well,
Yeah.
Look. I mean, I have a daughter, and if she can talk her way in and out of situations, I don't think that's a bad quality for her to have.
No. And at the end of the day, like they'll be like their parents, you know? And so I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to be fine.
We're great.
But I will say about the 1 or 2 or 3 kid situation, get this. My brother-in-law has three boys.
They're all his.
Yeah. Him and his wife, they got 3 kids. And every now and then, me and Gabby have them all over for a sleepover.
So they have 3 boys.
3 boys.
Okay.
And so we add 3 boys to our 2.
Okay. And you have a boy and a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And To be honest, the 3 situation isn't that bad after you reach critical mass.
Like, so they're all a certain age?
They're all pretty much out of diapers, walking. The oldest one's pretty old, so like they can wrangle the younger ones,
this is like my guy Jared. His oldest one is pretty old.
Yeah.
And then he has 2 younger ones, but they're all obviously out of diapers, like way.
Right.
Yeah. He has 3 boys.
And so that helps. So like 3, but you as a family don't really get to do much. You are locked down because you had a lot of kids. It's a lot to take places, things like that. So it's like restrictive in that sense.
Okay. Your mom, how many was she only child?
No, both of my parents came from fairly large families.
Okay, how many of your mom brothers and sisters?
She came from a family of 5.
Okay, and then your dad?
7.
How fucking crazy is that?
That's a lot. That's but my dad wasn't raised. He was raised by
his brothers and sisters.
Wolves, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
No. Like,
yeah,
so
that's how it goes.
So my dad's one of 7, right? My mom's the only child.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
culture shock.
2 real separate dynamics, right? But like it just, it's as simple as when there's 1, it's 2 on 1. When there's 2, it's 1 on 1. But when there's 3, you are now outnumbered, and every number up from that just puts you at a more of a disadvantage. And so they have to raise each other. You know what I mean? But I also think in doing this podcast, I've really discovered that, in my opinion, there's a lot of value to family if you can get a pretty good one. Like meaning that like no one's doing something really shitty.
Right.
People are gonna fight and argue and not always get along, but like, no one's just like a super piece of shit. Right. Like when you have that unit, it really, I don't know, it's a really positive experience for most people.
Yeah. And like that's the cool thing about having 2 kids. Like the number of children is equal to the number of adults. The adults have each other's backs. And I can see as you grow older, the kids have each other's backs. And then there's this dynamic between the next generation and the current generation.
Sure.
And that's kind of interesting. But then I also think about having 1 child. And I feel like that family unit can be even closer, because I feel like with 1 child, you have enough supervision to say, we're going to do things that we weren't able to do with, like, let's say if we had 3 kids, we can't go to Europe with 3 kids or something. But like, if you decide to like take a big old trip with your daughter, I think that's doable as parents, because, it's easy to have eyes on her and show her all these new things.
But it is a slippery slope of spoiling your child.
Yes.
And so you have to keep, like, that's really important to me, to keep a lot of, I'm like, I want my daughter to be taken care of.
Sure.
But I do not want her to be spoiled. There's no reason. She can have all the things she needs and wants.
Yeah.
There's like, she doesn't need more than that.
Yeah. Like what I mean is, like, if you can do experiences better. Right. I think if you can like frame it that way, where like you get to see the Grand Canyon or like go to Disney or, all these different things that you could take her to, because it's flat out easier to do with 1, and frame it in like we're doing this as a family and we're having experiences together. That's like a really deep, rich way to build that family bond that gets harder, I think, as you have more children, to say like, we're doing this as a big unit and everybody's going to have fun and it's going to be great, because you just can't attend to everybody's needs.
There's
too many of them.
I never thought about this before, but just think about like those families that take their 7 or 8 kids to fucking like Six Flags.
Yeah.
Like, what in the fuck's going on, man?
They just dropped like $1,000 in a day or something. It's wild.
I feel like that. I don't know if people still do that. They don't really have that many kids, right? But back in the day, it was probably like cheaper. But just like, there's no cell phones. You have to keep up with all these fucking kids.
Here's our meeting spot. Come back in 3 hours.
Yeah, like I mean, so. So like, did you like go to the, like, are you too young to like go to the mall and hang out at the mall, or did you hang out at the mall?
No, I hung out at the mall for sure. Yeah.
So would your parents like go like, hey, just meet us back at this entrance at a certain time?
Yeah.
Would you do that with your kids now?
Oh, fuck no.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Like what?
And it's so weird, because we're 1,000 times more connected, but at the same time, we have zero trust for anything. So like, they have the ability to contact us at any given minute, but we don't let them do anything because it's too dangerous, even though they have the means to call 911, call their parents, call their friends, whatever.
Look, I said this before. I'm training my daughter to be a ninja.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to put her out in the world and know that I don't have to worry about her.
In a sense of being physically capable to fight type of thing, or more like a mentally capable to handle any situation, or
just like,
or everything.
Know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Sure. Okay.
Know when to walk away, know when to run. You know what I mean? Just like being situationally aware, like not being oblivious to the things that are going around you, having your head stuck in your phone, like stuff like that. Just like just being there so that you notice things, like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like it's a really underrated skill and it's very important. Yeah. Just know my best friend from high school, God bless him. He got in many fights when we were in high school, but he was always and maybe it was more because, like, I don't want to say he was looking for it, but like it wasn't exactly not finding him. But he was like, you always got to be aware of your surroundings. Always, when you walk into a place, like, pay attention, look around. And like, I never forgot that. And it's really weird they say that. And I think he had a whole different purpose, but I never, never forgot, like, hey, just be aware of the things around you and take it in. Also, like, just be present. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get off your phone and, like, you can catch Pokemons later. Do y'all still go country dancing?
Yeah, as much as we can.
How often do y'all go country dancing?
Once every other month, maybe. It's about how much we get out.
This is a really weird question. Do you remember? This. I don't mean it. It's going to sound super fucking conceited, but I don't mean it in this way. I mean it in a different way, and I can explain it. Do you remember the first time you ever saw me dancing?
No, and I totally meant to ask you about that. I was like, were you a good dancer? I don't remember that.
You've never seen me dance before?
No.
What?
Like, I don't think I clued in.
I've been out when you've been dancing.
I know.
You've never seen me dance. What? That just shows that I'm full of myself. That's all that. Like, I thought that Brad had seen me dance before.
Wait, am I a good dancer? Mm-hmm. Have you seen me dance?
Yes. Well, you know what? This all makes sense now, because you don't know my ex-girlfriend that we talked about that I learned to dance from. Right. So you wouldn't have any idea if I danced before. I'll show you videos. I'll show you videos of my skills.
Dude, yeah, because like the thing is, I never pictured you as like a big country guy.
That's
right.
That's what I was getting at.
Because it doesn't cement in your brain that way.
Well, I mean, but like, it's also the way when I like you being from New York, and I'm like, well, how'd you get to here?
Right.
Well, I mean, in a weird way, like, coming from New York doesn't mean you're going to be a certain way, and me coming from Texas doesn't mean I'm a certain way. But I was also, like, raised here. Right. So there's a lot of influence around that.
Here's the common denominator, though. You said an ex-girlfriend taught you how to dance. Right. Same here. Well, it takes one girlfriend to be like, we're going to go to a country bar tonight. And like, it changes the course of history.
Okay. But, it's a very poor move for the first person that teaches you how to dance, whoever that girl is. But
bad choice.
But it's a great move for your wife. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Seriously, because it's like
she taught you, like,
she gave you wings and then you just left.
Well, it's just like, it's like she taught you, like, I don't know, like something that most guys don't know. That's right. Or even willing to do. Yeah. She makes it okay. She makes it okay that you dance, because there's a very masculine thing of like, oh, like, I only dance a certain way, or I don't dance, or blah, blah, whatever. But like, I mean, if people don't like, yes, like I look like this, but I went country dancing a lot. I was good enough that people wanted to dance with me. I'll put it that way. Sure. Right. And like, I mean, it's like, you just stand around and wait. It's like fishing with the best bait ever. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
ain't that right, Joe?
There's some times where it did feel like you had superpowers, Yes. And it's so weird because people ask me today, like, oh, what do you like to do for fun? And I'm like, I dance, and I like say it with a little hesitation because it's a weird thing to say sometimes, but there's something about country dancing that is so cool.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, so have you ever danced outside of Texas?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went line dancing is what you did.
No, I didn't do like, so like when we go to New York, all my relatives are like, get the house band to play a country song, they're going to dance.
No, but
you're saying like Have I ever danced in Colorado or California?
when you go other states,
It's not the same.
Country dancing is not what country dancing is here,
No.
and people don't understand that.
No. You know, you're earlier you asked me about like, oh, who's an actor that I hate or something, but something that I hate with a passion is line dancing, because I call it something.
What do you call it?
Line dancing is a form of masturbation.
Okay.
You're just out there playing with yourself for your own enjoyment. Nobody else cares. That's what I call it. It's just one of those things where like, you knowing how to line dance, I just don't understand what value it brings. It's like it's a communal thing. I get it, but like there's something so special about couples dancing in Texas.
I just don't know where line dancing became country dancing, because
It's just a choreograph.
because okay, you know this, a lot of line dances are like hip hop songs,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be more like the electric slide.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not country dancing per se. But I don't know. Like country dancing in my mind has always been coupled dancing as long as I have been going since I was a child. Right. So I just don't know how you get the line dancing and go, this is country dancing, you know?
Yeah.
Colorado.
I would have thought Colorado was better
Colorado's better though. They've
better than
gotten better.
California.
California's horrible.
Yeah.
Vegas is horrible.
But that's the one thing I want to make sure my daughter learns is how to country dance.
Teach a guy to dance so he'll run off. What are you doing, Brad?
Country dance with me.
Okay, so let me ask you this: Have you danced with your daughter, like for any reason of anything, like holding her and stuff like that? Does she like doing it?
She dresses up in the big Beauty and the Beast Belle dress, and she's Belle and I'm the Beast, and we dance together, and she knows country dancing. I'm starting to teach her the little spins and dips and stuff. So
that's cool.
So she's still too short to really make it all work, but we'll get there.
Well, right now I'm in a stage where my daughter like puts her feet on top of my feet, and we just kind of like go like this or whatever.
Hey, as we all know, the footwork is the most important part.
Yeah, I mean,
not
I'm
all
not
the
doing
fancy spins.
I'm not doing very much. Yeah. So how I usually like to wrap this thing up is I like to ask people like what they do to like take care of themselves so they can be good for all the people around them. So you're obviously a workout guy. We talked about that before. But like, what do you like? Okay, so something you said earlier about working out, particularly, is like you've really gotten into doing a lot of mobility before you lift, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so why is that important? I know why it's important, but I just want to hear you say it.
Okay, for me, I've noticed that recovery times were longer, and not to mention I had torn my Achilles in the past, so like proper warm up is a must. It helps me like by being loose before going into workout. You're not stressing your joints and stretching your muscles too far, too fast. So you're just like preventing injury and like feeling good during your lifts. And I think that led to faster recovery. And just like I sit all day, like I have to stretch my back, foam roll my back, or else I'm just like too stiff.
Do you do earbuds or over ear?
While I'm working, I do over the ear noise canceling headphones.
Okay.
Like the whole world's blocked out.
Right.
But working out, I do the earbuds.
Yeah. You're not guy with the
Nah. I sweat a lot, so like I can't do that.
Also, in doing all that mobility stuff, when you have those things on your head, they're kind of like all like sliding around and stuff. Just out of curiosity, what kind of music do you listen to when you lift? And does it change on your mood or what you're doing or whatever? Like, how are you music wise? I'm always interested in like what people listen to when they lift.
I'm like half and half. Sometimes I listen to podcasts just because I'm like trying to absorb information and I don't care if that affects my workout or not. But if I'm listening to like music, I've been into like 80s rock music.
Like hair metal?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Like so good.
What's your favorite hair metal band right now?
Okay.
So what year were you born?
I was born in 87.
Okay, so like, I mean, hair metal's almost over the year you're born. So this is your like 60s. This is your like history, right?
But this is what makes it all funny, because the band that I've been listening to is actually a band from the 2000s that like
The darkness.
play. No, not quite. No, they're called Airborne.
Okay.
Airborne?
No, I think
Airborne.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Fucking love them. Like he has a whole song about like going down on a chick. I don't know. It's so good.
I look. I love Van Halen. Like I'm a big Van Halen.
Totally.
Yeah. So like I can't. Yeah.
But like I heard this band and I was like, oh my God, they're straight out of the 80s. And my mom was like, that was a 2000s band. I'm like, wow, I got put in my place.
Well, I think what's so interesting about music, I think I've said this before, is just like now it's like all at your fingertips. So like before, when a music would go out of style, you would have to cultivate that yourself.
Right.
But now it's just given to you and there's access to it. So like a band can be a 80s hair band and be brand new right now.
Yeah.
Because
To you. Yeah.
Yeah, because people have the access to listen to that and want new music in that particular genre, which is really cool.
And I gotta say, like, Spotify, hands down, is so good at doing that. Like, they make all these playlists that are like for you or digging deeper into this kind of genre for you. And like, they just put them right on your homepage. It's like, if you want more of this, click here. And they're like insanely accurate. And I even curate this huge list of daily Texas country songs. I call it Daily Texas Country. And like, even after having 1,300 songs on there, Spotify even does a good job of like finding new stuff for me. You know, I'm like, I know everything about this genre, and Spotify's like, oh, we got some good stuff in here for you.
So who's your favorite Texas country artist?
Right now, it's a guy named Tristan Mares.
Okay, I don't even know who that guy is.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good. He sounds like a 90s country artist kind
Really?
of, but today, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, okay, so what else do you do besides working out?
Kind of like for fun, I ride this thing called a one wheel.
Okay, what that is that the thing where it's like got the big rubber wheel in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so think about it like an electric skateboard with one wheel in the center.
Okay. Is it hard?
It was quick to pick up, but like very foreign at first.
Okay. Have you had a bad accident?
No.
Is it not if but when? Have you had a scare?
I mean, that's why I sold the motorcycle. It wasn't if but when.
Yeah.
But this one wheel, no, I think I'll be fine. I watch the accidents that people have, and I'm like, you're an idiot. The board was telling you to slow down, and you weren't paying attention.
So how do you control that thing? Like, is it with the pressure of your feet?
It's just leaning. You lean forward or you lean backwards, and it goes forwards or slows down and then goes backwards.
I've kind of wanted one of these. You're not necessarily not selling me on it. I'm kind of like
It's snowboarding on the concrete anytime you want. Like,
do you just go? Like, do you just go?
I just go.
Like you just tell Gabby like, hey, I'm gonna go one wheel.
I usually ride for about 20 minutes before work every day.
Do you listen to music?
Yeah.
What do you listen to when you one wheel?
There's a playlist called there's a playlist called Float to This, and like one wheeling they call it floating.
Because you feel like you're floating.
Kind of like because it's like snowboarding, but there's less physical contact with the ground. You know, when you're snowboarding, you can feel that edge a lot.
Yeah.
This is a big go-kart tire. It's very rounded.
Yeah.
And so you're very like, you know. So yeah. It's this cool, like kind of dubstep, kind of flowy electronic.
Are you part of a club? Or like, is there other one wheelers?
There's an Austin one wheel like group, but I've never joined them. They ride like through the Domain and to downtown and stuff.
So
I gotta get into that.
What else do you do? Do you do anything else? Are you a meditator? Are you a reader? Do you have any book recommendations?
I set a big goal last year to read one book every other month. And that was a big goal for me.
Are you making yourself physically read it, or are you letting yourself do audiobooks?
No, I'm reading physical books. Because I like listen to podcasts, and so I get a lot of information that way. But books, I want to like touch. I want to feel like I'm going through it. See, it needs to be different.
It's hard for me to read. It's so much easier for me just taking things audibly. And so like I'm just like I'm just reading so many books. But it just works better for me. Like I do it in the sauna too. I just put it when I get in the sauna, I just put my headphones in and I just listen.
Does that not wreck your headphones?
It hasn't so far, but I have these like they're called like Jabras. Right.
Oh, they're the good water resistant.
Yeah,
type.
like they're like a workout one or whatever. So like I don't think you can get in a pool, but you can sweat.
Sure.
But like there are also times where it's like, man, that one's like shorted out. Like I think it got too hot.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure. Anyways,
okay. So my goal was to read 6 books. I read like 9 last year.
Nice,
and that's big for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm normally not a reader, and I did it to get away from a screen. So like I'm gonna read
That's
instead.
fair. Yeah.
Probably one of the coolest books I read was Digital Minimalism. That's the title. And it just talks about how to disconnect from your phone a little bit and like legit strategies to do that.
Okay, like can you give me an example? What was your favorite like strategy?
Literally one of the first things I said was you have to start with a full-on detox. So you get rid of everything digital. You essentially turn your phone into a dumb phone where you can use it to make a phone call and maybe text, and that's all it does. And then what you do is you add back slowly only what you need. And there's lots of definitions around what it is that you need, because you might think you need Twitter.
Sure.
You don't need Twitter.
Yeah.
So there's definitions on when and how you add things back. Did it change my whole entire life? No. But
it's a good exercise.
Did I get better about it, or did I go through the process? Yes.
And I'm assuming, like as a dad, you want to be better about that for your kids as well,
for
right?
sure.
Like that's a big influence, right?
Yeah. And it's hard because I'm a tech guy. I like tech, and I just got all my Apple stuff for Christmas. I got like the watch and the phone and the cool headphones, and it's harder, because now I feel it's always on me. But actually, the watch is like the coolest thing because it keeps you informed of like a text message or a phone call, but there's no ability to kill time on it.
Well,
it's kind of nice.
Well, this is how I feel about my watch. Is that like it allows me to go. I don't need to answer that text message.
Exactly.
Like I probably need. That's one of my client. Like it allows me to go what's important, what's not, and just go like
immediately.
Yeah, like and like I don't know if that's good or bad, but it doesn't make me react in the way of like, oh, I need to go do something now, unless it's needed.
Right.
So I feel like it's less, but
like there's something about like if you answered on your phone. Oh, I got a buzz on my phone. Oh, that's not important. Oh, but Instagram's right there.
Yeah, but what else is important? What else is going on?
Right. So there's none of that here, and it's speak of the devil. I literally got an Instagram notification right now.
They're listening. Anything else? Anything else? You got any cool hobbies besides doing your podcast? And doing your YouTube channel?
A lot of my hobbies are like tech focused. I'm constantly learning something, building a side project, building a new website.
Would you say one of your hobbies is learning? I mean, would that be fair?
Yeah. And in my career, it's almost required, but like, I like it. I have this dream to build out this whole, like weightlifting tracker application thing. If not for anybody, but just myself.
I'm interested. Go on.
Yeah.
Do you not want to tell your secrets right now?
No, it's not a secret. So like, here's the thing. As I'm changing,
let me give you my professional opinion on what I want from an app, the weight tracker. Yeah. So you tell me what you sell me on this. Sell me on this app.
This is essentially made for just me, so I'm not sure if it's going to convince you.
I think probably like if you have some sort of issue, there's somebody else that probably feels the same way. So
as I'm getting older, I've been working out for a while, and I've made a bunch of different workout routines for myself. Some are powerlifting focused, some are bodybuilding focused, some are power building, some are whatever. I'm just so sick and tired of them because I've been doing them on rotation for like 10 years or something. I just want to say, okay, application, I'm going to do chest and triceps today. Fucking figure it out for me. And you just generate my workout.
Like a trainer.
Pretty much. And today I'm in the mood for drop sets, but not supersets. Today I'm in the mood to lift heavy, so give me like a powerlifting thing. And you kind of like state your preference, and then it'll just generate that for you based on the equipment you have. And so that's kind of like, I'm building it selfishly for my own home gym, so I can just say like, make my workout for me so I don't have to think. And now I can imagine, let's say a trainer could somehow prescribe based on the equipment that the client has, saying it's a chest and tricep day, but the client only has dumbbells 1 to 25. Do what you can with that.
Well, this
app.
okay. This is an AI solution, right? Or no?
You could throw some like machine learning at it to say like
learning who you are.
If people like or dislike these workouts,
well, I mean,
like change things around.
As a trainer, I've never thought about like how my job is going to be replaced, but I was like, well, okay. So here's this is the only downfall of the app that I see, right? It's not really a bad thing. People like you, fantastic, right? The majority of my job is making you show up.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the programming is important, but like if you're self-motivated, the app is fantastic. But if like you can't sell it to somebody that's not self-motivated because like generated work ain't gonna do shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'll just be like, well, Instagram has, like they're just like on to the next.
Right.
Anyways, so
for the longest time, I thought about building like a client, like a trainer client type app where like trainers could manage clients and stuff. What do you look for and stuff like that?
So this is okay. I've tried a lot of business type apps for trainers, right? Or we'll just say small business owners or individual business owners, right? I need an app, and I have not found one yet. And maybe when I'm saying this, it already exists, but I don't know about it. That I can schedule, my clients can schedule with me, right? I can track like sessions that they have trained. So if like they have 10 sessions, I can track those sessions, right? I can bill them, charge them monthly, whatever, and like have like, a calendar of basic things that I need to organize that stuff.
Yeah.
And something that would take an EFT payment. So if I want to charge like an EFT, like, like for every month, it would just be like an automatic charge. As far as I have found, there is no app that will do all of those things.
Yeah. Because like what you named was 4 different apps, Stripe, Calendly, like all these different things that do different aspects of that. But yeah, nothing to integrate them all.
Because like if I'm going to run my business from my phone, I need my clients to be able to but this would be like a hairdresser. This doesn't change.
Right.
It's anybody that's self-employed offering a service, whether it be massage, hairdressing, or whatever.
Booking time slots and stuff.
You need to be able to book time slots. You need to be able to charge them. You need to be able to like count sessions or what they've used, right? You need to be able to have a count. Like it seems like it would be so easy, but apparently it's not.
This is cool. I've been saying I want to build something that makes me money. I want to put an app out there in the world that makes me money. This is always something that's been on my mind, like a trainer client thing. Could be cool to do.
I think there's so much room to build something like that. But maybe, I don't know, it's too much, like, it's going to sound stupid. There's a certain mentality, like a trainer is kind of like an artist, right? Of that kind of like, I'm going to create my own path and do my own thing. And this is going to be my style. And this is what I believe in. And so like, maybe an app like that has never worked because like people find the way they want to do stuff and then they just don't want to mess with it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe at the end of the day, it is just straight up client management. And ignore all the workout and sets and reps and stuff in there. Like this app is just client management. You pay me for 10 sessions. I'm gonna count them down.
Let me just say this. I like your app because like
I'm gonna use the shit out of it.
Hey, I'm tired of writing my own workouts too. You know what I mean? Like I've been writing workouts for a hot minute. Like I would love for somebody to come in and write my workout. You know what I mean? Like I like doing stuff and I know what I need to do. But also it would be cool to just be surprised. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Or
like, I know exactly what's coming. And I think my muscles do too. My body does too. And I wanted to shift that up.
Well, it's the kind of thing that like I always tell people, like just because I'm a trainer doesn't mean I can't get my ass kicked. You know what I mean? Like another trainer could come in and train me and I would work harder because I don't know what he's going to do. And so it's that unpredictability of, having someone pushing you in a way. Oh man, like this probably doesn't happen to you, but like now that I'm kind of a little bit older, it's like let's say for example, I start doing push-ups and my goal is like, I'm going to do 12 and like somewhere around 8, I'm just like, I could just do 10. What is those 2 reps? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll talk myself down to like 6. I'll be like working myself down, and like I just need somebody like to just come in and say like, no, you're doing 10. Just do 10. 10. It is 10. It's not. You don't get to decide. And I have to do that to myself. I have to go like, no, just like do 10.
I gotta say, I don't know how or why I'm this way, but I'm pretty good at self-motivation. Just saying,
I was too, though.
Don't be a fucking pussy.
But no, but I was. I'm telling you, I was too. And then all of a sudden, there's just like, oh,
you hit a time where you're just like, What difference is it going to make?
I really would say it would be in the last like probably couple of years.
Yeah.
Where me being able to just bend over and pick shit up without my back hurting or not have pain and stuff like that has become so much more important. Right.
Like as long as you're doing the work to make that good, that's the threshold.
Well, I mean, you come to a point where you go, okay, vanity.
I don't need muscles.
Or like living.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And some people make that choice like really late or not soon enough or whatever. And I've just been better about going like, no, like, I mean, and having my daughter and her being so young helps, right? Like, so I want to be able to pick her up. I want to be able to do things. That's more important. But, you know, if you have a decent diet, you know, be careful about your drinking, a lot of water, good sleep, rest, blah, 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 whatever. You can do that stuff and you're not going to, you know.
Yeah.
And you'll want to be more active. Like you'll want to be more active as a person, which I think is a very underrated thing about from a trainer's point of view, right? Like that your clients kind of a lot of times only work out when they work out with you, right? They just come work out the whatever times a week. They don't work out on their own. That happens a lot, right?
Yeah.
So if I can make them more active on their non-workout days, that maybe they burn more calories and lose more weight.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I got to say, I find it hard to be active.
Well, you don't relate to any of this.
I don't
because you're self-motivated.
It's weird because I get my workouts in every day, 5-6 days a week, but like I spend so much time in a chair. It's unbelievable because I'll do my work day in a chair, you know, then do family time, do my workout, and I'll come back and sit in the chair. What's one of my hobbies? You know, learning, coding, doing more of that stuff.
No stand-up desk? You ain't doing stand-up?
I got a stand-up desk.
You just look at it?
I don't use it very much. It's weird.
You're like, hey, stand up desk.
The watch actually helps though, because it's like once an hour you're supposed to stand up. And so I stand up and now I'm standing up for, you know, whatever, like 30 minutes at a time. So it's helping. It really is.
Well, man, I took this on a wild tangent. Is there anything else you do to take? I mean, you got your kids, like family time. I'm sure y'all do a lot of family time.
A lot of family time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to say though, I find that like hobbies now there's less number of them. But like you really got to find the ones that you enjoy, you know, the ones that are sustainable, the ones that constantly do bring you joy. Nothing should feel like a slog. And
well, one, I think it's very important just to have a hobby of something, you know. But two, if you decide to get married, have a partner, blah, 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 you decide to have kids. I mean, you're gonna have to cut out some of your shit.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So you're gonna have to pick what's really important and kind of stick with that. I think sometimes in a relationship, we don't separate our time from others, like what we give to others and what we have for ourselves. And so then when we're giving to others, we feel like that time's being taken from us. And if you would just kind of go like, I'm set aside time for me. This is my time for my kids. I'm assuming you do that. Like you have your time for you, time for your kids. Then you don't feel like stuff's being so like taken from you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm actually lucky in the sense that my wife goes to bed early. She's like a 9 p.m. person.
And does she not care that you stay up?
No.
I think. Well, I mean,
she doesn't care.
But okay,
she's like, I need to sleep.
Okay,
you do you.
Let me ask you this: have you ever dated the person that's like, you have to go to bed at the same time as me?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it's
I don't
just
think
me.
so. But no, I hear you though. Like that would frustrate the shit out of me. Because I'm
Well,
like, I have
sucker.
gas
Like,
to burn here. Come on.
But I mean, so like, you've never been pressured to go to bed at the same time as your girlfriend.
I mean, maybe a little bit, but that's not something I'm gonna give into. No way. Like I'm a night owl. I'm productive.
I crumbled. That's the problem with that.
I will say so that's when I get my time.
Right.
I have a built-in me time from when my wife goes to bed to when I need to go to bed. Just 2 to 3 hours, you know?
But I think that's important, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in a weird way, she kind of supports that by going to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's more difficult for her because she's like, well, I need some me time. And I'll be like, okay, well, let's make that happen. You know, mine comes naturally. Hers has to be scheduled.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I've thought about moving that me time to the morning forever. Like, what if I could wake up at 4 and get in 2 hours of work before the kids wake up? Because at night, I'm less motivated. I want to have a drink. And it's like always turns out to be less productive than I would have wanted.
But it's me time.
It's me time. Productive, enjoyable, whatnot. Sometimes I find myself just zoning because I'm too tired to commit to anything or something
You
like
should
that.
go to bed at those times.
Like, that's what I'm saying. You should go to bed. So I'm like, if I shifted that time earlier, I could have that productive, fun, enjoyable time, get through my day, do my workout, and go to bed at the same time as my wife. Tired and fulfilled at the end of the day.
Am I supposed to keep this part on the podcast, or should I cut? Like,
Oh no, keep it.
and
Yeah,
she's gonna listen and go, okay.
yeah,
well,
you
so,
should.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I'm like, then the night we go out to Mavericks or whatever, I'm just a dead horse.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to do anything, and I like going out dancing. I like doing stuff, not feeling like I got to be back home at 9 because I'm too tired.
I mean, you know, it's a hard, like I have to get up real early for my clients and stuff. It's a hard balance of trying to like do fun things that tend to be later at night.
Yeah.
And then have to get up the next day early or whatever.
Yeah.
I you know, when we talk about like phones and devices, I use a lot of that, like, you know, how it regulates your sleep and it tells you like how many hours you're going to be asleep and you set your alarm appropriately. So I try to pay attention to like just really making mine like 7.5 hours. So if I have to get up at 4:30, then that means I have to go to bed at 9.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And like, but if I don't have to be up till 7, I might like adjust a little bit, but just trying to always get those hours.
Yeah.
They're already messed up anyway, because it's way dark and my circadian rhythm's like way off, but like trying to go like, I'm going to get 7.5 hours every night. I get to stay up a little bit later sometimes. I talked about my girlfriend's like a kind of a night owl. So if we're going to hang a lot, it's usually like later, you know, for her. And so, you know, anyways.
Yeah. I'm just getting on this whole sleep tracking bandwagon. It's cool.
I mean, like technology is really cool in the sense of like, it just allows you. It's like the Jetsons. Like, it's like the future is like you never thought that it would like be here. Like the only thing we're missing is flying cars. Like if we had flying.
Yeah.
Are we going to get flying cars?
We're not going to get flying cars anytime soon.
If anybody would know, I feel like.
It's, yeah. It's like,
well,
we can't even get the Cybertruck on time. So
are they still trying to like deliver?
they're still trying.
Are you getting one?
No.
Oh.
I thought about it long and hard, but then I dumped a bunch of money into mine. You should see it outside. It's, you know, big rims and tires and all that shit.
Way better than a Cybertruck.
Better than Cybertruck.
Yeah.
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 But
well, did you have a good time?
oh, this was great.
Like, so podcast wise, you've done a lot of podcasts. Is this I'm putting you on the spot. Is this one of your favorite ones?
I will say this.
Yeah, give me some quick feedback.
You leave a tech podcast being like, all right, cool. I talked about some shit I know. That was a little dry.
Right.
This was fun. We're drinking, we ate some pizza, you know, it was a good time.
Well, you know, it's kind of like nothing against like fitness conferences or whatever. And I've been to like a handful. Oh man, but I hate going to fitness conferences to talk about fitness. I mean, because all I do is talk about like fitness is what I talk about with my clients and stuff all day.
Right.
Like I want to talk about like, I don't know, what's it like to live in New Jersey or whatever it is, right? And a lot of times when you go to conferences like that, all the people there just want to talk about is
it's
whatever
just one track.
whatever that subject is.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's disappointing because you feel like you'd have this real in with these people that have a common interest, but then you realize, oh, like their common interest is this. And the fact that you like don't want to talk about anything but that is like not where they're at. You know what I mean?
The word is just burnout. Sometimes you're just like burned out of it all. You
Well,
know,
you just-
and I just want something different.
Well, I mean, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you just want to do something that's like not what you do all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Or just talk about something different.
Yeah.
Anyways. Well, I ask everybody to give me a hug when they get out, or you can push that mic out. Give me a hug. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good time, man.
Awesome.